If you had to pick one trend that's defined the last 10 years, what would it be? Today, we're gonna take a look back at the 7 most influential trends of the last decade. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Drew. What it do? It's nice to meet you. Let's talk trends. And while you're watching this video, let me know what were the biggest or most influential trends in your life during this time period. Number 1, athleisure. One of the biggest mainstream fashion trends that still influences the world today, or at least a lot of Americans today, is the shift away from formal dressing towards more comfort-focused casual wear. In my opinion, it's one of the biggest reasons that American style is often not as highly respected globally. And it's one of the few trends that has become synonymous with modern Americana. Athleisure clothing is characterized by wearing garments that are designed with an emphasis on comfort. It's the type of clothing you can wear to exercise in or grab a meal with a friend after work, or just chill on the couch with. It's a combination of loungewear, casual styling, and pseudo gym clothing. Athleisure, in a lot of ways, is the epitome of the current American mindset, which says, how can I optimize my time to be as efficient and as productive as I can be while still being comfortable? Brands such as Fabletics, Athleta, Nike, and Lululemon dominate the space, the latter of which in Lululemon catapulted itself to a globally recognizable mega brand as a result of the beginning of the athleisure trend in the 2010s and saw massive growth again during the global pandemic. There is no trend that has had more of an effect on the greatest number of people inside the United States than athleisure. And in a lot of ways, you can make the same argument for a good chunk of the global population as well. In this context, athleisure, casual wear, loungewear are all being lumped together in what I'm calling athleisure. And while of course there are tons of people who dress in a non-athleisurely way, the vast majority of people, like the everyday person, has adopted this athleisure style of dress, which just wasn't as much of a thing in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And of course in the decades before that, it just didn't happen. People dressed in a more formal way. Now people dress more casually because of the rise of athleisure. Number 2, streetwear. The streetwear trend draws a direct link to the rise in popularity of the athleisure trend. What I'm saying is that streetwear does not become what it becomes without the public's acceptance of more casual garments, which happened around or within the same window as the athleisure trend. Now, this video isn't meant to be a comprehensive history about the rise of streetwear, but there were several factors that led to it becoming so popular. But what a lot of people miss when it comes to streetwear is the fact that it gave a lot of underrepresented ideas in fashion an opportunity to shine. Before the 2010s, you had black designers, but within the 2010s, you saw the blossoming of so many minority creatives in the fashion space. This included people like Virgil Abloh, who founded his own brand Off-White and then became the men's creative director at Louis Vuitton. You have to mention someone like Kanye West, who with his Yeezy line turned himself into a billionaire and was instrumental in helping pilot the push for more casual, athletic-driven clothing styles. You also saw the rise in the burgeoning of ideas like logomania, which was spearheaded by Alessandro Michele of Gucci, and he really helped push Gucci to brand new heights in this era that also kind of coincided with streetwear. There was even new language added to the lexicon with words or terms like hypebeast, which was used to describe someone who was an over-the-top enthusiast of these styles during this time period. Some of the most influential and noteworthy brands from this period that are still popular and influential to this day include Supreme, Kith, Emily Andor, Bape, Comme des Garçons, Capital. And I mean, this is just a short list of the brands who have seeds that were planted in the hypebeast era or the 2010s, 20-teens era and have grown and blossomed in the 2020s. Number 3, the rise of social media. Depending on when you were born, you either grew up pre-social media or during social media. And we all understand how important social media has been to business and communication and fashion and culture, but do we really sit back and think about how important it is to these ways of life. The 2010s was the start of the shift from social media being a way to connect with friends to now social media being the way global trends are set. There are countless examples of this, but some of the early examples included things such as the Tumblr girl and the Visco girl, which are styled personality types that highlighted hipsterism, microblogging, and kind of this innate trendyism that took place during the 2010s Tumblr days. Through the period of the 2010s, social media transformed itself into the most important aspect for not only young people, but for everyone in culture. Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, and most recently TikTok have become the most important media platforms in the world. From creating a new profession known as the influencer to changing the way fashion is communicated entirely. Think about it. News, commerce, politics all run via these applications. And as a result, we've seen so many trends come from and be made by social media. Some positive, that could be the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and maybe the Harlem Shake. And some negative, that could be the Kylie Jenner Lip Challenge and the Tide Pod Challenge. Number 4, skinny jeans. The skinny jean trend started in the mid to early 2010s, and it's still the most popular pair or popular style of pants worn today, especially for guys. You're probably thinking, whoa, Drew, pump the brakes. I hear you. As of recent, wider fitting and baggier silhouette pants have grown in popularity. And if I was making this video in 2030, talking about the 2020s, I would be having to make an opposite statement in regards to the pant silhouettes that are the most popular. And you have to remember, I'm not just talking about fashion MFs or people who are really into fashion. They of course adopt styles at a different pace than the majority of people. Majority of people are wearing skinny jeans or a version of skinny jeans or a version of skinny pants. Whether we're talking actually about skinny jeans or we're just talking about more tighter fitting, tapered down the leg, athleisure track pants, it's what most people are going to step out their house in. And to clarify, when I say skinny jeans, I'm not just talking about jeans. I'm talking about a silhouette where it's more tighter fitting towards the leg, it tapers down towards the ankle. We could even be talking about something like jeggings, which are athleisure and skinny jeans in 2010s fashion's final boss. There's also biker pants that were super popular in the mid 2010s. Not as popular now, but if we're talking about the last decade, you gotta include those. What was so apparent to me about the popularity of skinny jeans is that the pant silhouette covered a multitude of genres of style. If you were a geek in the 2010s, you wore skinny jeans. If you were into streetwear in the 2010s, you wore skinny jeans. If you were a post-punk indie sleaze guy or girl, you wore skinny jeans. And what's really fascinating about skinny jeans is that they hold so much weight in the conscious of both fashion and non-fashion people alike. From 2020 to 2025, obviously, more wider fitting pants have become popular. But ever since about 2022 or 2023, there have been trend forecasters who have predicted the return of skinny jeans. In my estimation, I would say that skinny jeans kind of lost their popularity around 2020, 2021. They started to lose their popularity. That means within a year or two, people already predicted that skinny jeans were going to come back into the mainstream, even though a lot of people would argue that they probably haven't even left. If you look at the comments of someone saying, baggy jeans are the most trendy, in 2025, that's not a controversial statement. But just look at some of the comments from 2 years ago or a year ago. A lot of people would argue and say, well, all my homies, all my friends, all the people I know wear skinny jeans. What's the problem? I think the fact that we talk about skinny jeans so much and it's still a decade later speaks to the power of this trend. Number 5, dad shoes. Do you remember when dad shoes were actually for dads? Now, less Gen Z and millennials actually are having kids, so they have to cosplay as parents in order to make sense of their lives. All jokes aside, dad shoes and ugly shoes were big trends in the 2010s, and they've still been and continue to be a big part of the 2020s. The epitome of a true dad shoe to me is the Nike Air Monarch or the New Balance 990 V4. The reason why dad shoes have become so popular is actually very similar to the reasons why streetwear and athleisure also became popular during this time period. Comfort became the priority for more and more people. And who understands comfort better than your dad? There's also something that can be said for how nostalgia creates this drive to buy certain products. When you're a kid, everything that your father or father figures do in your life gets imprinted onto your brain. And part of the reason dad shoes have become so popular is because they evoke a feeling of familiarity and comfort. Number 6, let's talk about the most famous people from the last 10 years. I wanted to make a list of who I think had the biggest impact on the biggest amount of people. This is obviously going to be skewed from an American perspective, but I also want you to know that I left off people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos because their impact on culture doesn't really reflect the nature of this conversation and I think deserves a different conversation. So here are my most famous, most influential people of the last decade or so. 1, Beyonce. 2, Taylor Swift. 3, Drake. 4, the Kardashians. 5, Ronaldo. 6, Rihanna. 7, Mr. Beast. 8, Selena Gomez and Ariana Grande. 9, Lady Gaga. And 10, I'm calling this the 4. I think these are the 4 world leaders who have had the biggest impact on culture, fashion, music, etc. You have Barack Obama, Xi Jinping, Donald Trump, and Vladimir Putin. I'd be curious to know who your 10 would be down in the comments. Number 7, micro trends. TikTok has been the single most impactful application to the fashion world during the last 5 years. It's sped up trends to a pace that feels like there's always something new that's going on or always a new trend that's going on. And the kind of confusing thing about TikTok is that it feels like there are several trends happening simultaneously across all of these vast categories, which often means that as an audience member, as a user, you can't catalog or keep up with all the things that are happening on the app because there's constantly new things in all these different corners. In the example of fashion, which is just one vertical of a category of TikTok, there were fashion cores. Then there was the office siren. Now we talk about the performative male. And those are just a few that I can rattle off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a slew of trends that are happening right now or versions of trends that are happening right now that I just have no idea about. The pace of culture and the explosion of micro trends is in direct relation to the growth of TikTok. And as a result, fashion has gotten faster and faster and faster, which has caused a slew of things, but none of which are more impactful than the decrease in the quality of clothing and the boom in the accumulation of that same clothing. What would you say have been the most influential trends of the last decade? As always, I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2025. So that means I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity to you and to everyone who's alive. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful rest of your day. Abianto. Peace. Yo, what is good post vid? Here are the fist bumps for the one time. Let me get close. Camera is so far away. Why are we so far away? It's because we're in a new apartment. Let me get y'all the fist bumps really quick. Here are the fist bumps. Bop. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. I appreciate you so much. Here's the second fist bump. Bop. Thank you guys so much. We're in a new space. I'm going to make a video about this later. But for the post vid question of the day, I want to know, should I make a part 2 for this video and talk only about the worst trends from the 2010s heading into the 2020s? Let me know down in the comments, #PVV when you answer. We'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Peace.